companies don't really reinvent the wheel, or developers don't reinvent the wheel. Many times they just take off-the-shelf components, and many of these off-the-shelf components are free to use. This is the so-called open source software. While it's free, it's not really free. It does come with various license provisions that are basically mandated by the creator of the software and also the copyright holder. The risk of non-complying with these terms is unfortunately the heaviest penalty could be having to take off the product off the market until the product is brought into compliance with the open source software license. There are many different types of open software licenses out there. It's easy to think of them as falling into two categories. There's something called the permissive license, where the licensee is just required to provide notices that provide attribution to the creator, and those notices should be delivered with the product. And there are the so-called restrictive licenses. Copyleft is another term that's used, and those, in addition to the provision of notices, they can also require provision of the source code. The issue of training data sets is an issue that's fairly specific to AI. Many companies are not able to create their own training data sets for their AI models because it's expensive, because there's no resources, there's no time. And there are a lot of training data sets out there that are free. Some of these come under these types of open source licenses that do not allow commercial use. And these licenses are fairly well written in the sense that not only is the training data set itself is not allowed to be used for commercial use, but also the resulting model trained using this data set is also not allowed to be used for commercial use. So there's really no way to just use the training data and then say, I'm not using the training data for commercial use, I'm just going to use the model for commercial use. That's not allowed either. It is important to develop appropriate policies for use of third-party code. And this type of policy is something that an IP attorney like myself could help a company develop, and it should have several components. Probably the most important component is to keep track of the third-party libraries that are being used. There are also scanning tools out there that can automatically scan the repository and then basically provide a list of the third-party libraries that are being used. It's an important subject that I think will come up more and more in the future with the proliferation of AI and in general proliferation of software.